Hey guys, it's Rainey Romero with the lovely law firm. We have been doing so many cool Meet the Team interviews, and today we have yet another one for you with attorney Roberto Anton. How you doing, Roberto?
I'm doing well.
Good, good. So, Roberto, you're kind of known in the office for like being the funny one, right?
I depends on who you ask. Your mileage
That's what I've
may
gotten from
vary.
it.
I mean, that's I appreciate that. I'm glad the jokes land for you. That the same the same cannot be said of other people.
Maybe not everybody.
Not not
That's how I
everybody.
took it. That's too funny. Well, I want to learn, when I picture an attorney, I don't think of somebody like you, Roberto, because you're just so kind of, easygoing. You're funny, you're kind of like, I picture you. My brother is very similar to you with kind of a sarcastic sense of humor and just kind of fun. And so I would never picture my brother as an attorney. So you have to give me your story of how you kind of got into law.
I got into law because I sort of wanted to be a writer when I was much younger, but
That makes sense. I could see that.
it did not feel like I was sort of weighing, what do I want with, in my life. So I determined that the best way to leverage the skills that I gained through my incredibly useful, very utilitarian English degree was to go into something that involves a lot of language and rational thinking, things of that nature. I have also a lot of family that are in the law, so the idea that I might one day be a lawyer was sort of implanted early on by grandparents and the like.
Okay. But you majored in English?
Majored in English and anthropology.
Okay. Okay. Were you being sarcastic about the English major? Because I majored in English and I really enjoyed it.
I I really enjoyed it too. I really enjoyed it.
I do feel like
And
it was useful. Come on now.
I mean, I taught English in middle school for 2 years, so it was pretty useful then, and it's useful now. Uh, I guess. I mean, you know what? It helped with the reading, like having a lot of literature assignments helped with
You
law
can never
school.
go wrong with being, someone who writes well. I feel like, there's a lot of people who don't know the proper way to write, and I feel like it's a good skill to know.
I mean, I agree. Listen, I regret nothing.
So, okay, so from English, and so then, did you go straight into teaching middle school, or how did you get into law school?
I did. I got out of college. I'd been in school for I don't know, like my entire life basically, and the thought of going right back into school was not appealing. So I thought
Sure.
I would join the workforce, and I did the thing, the only thing that I could do that was in my field, that was going to pay me anything decent, that was not going right back into an academic setting, because it's like you have an English degree. Okay, so what are you going to do that is in your field? You know, I thought about publishing a best-selling novel, and then I thought, no, I really want to give back to the community. Uh, so I got a job teaching language arts in middle schools, and that really 2 years of eighth graders really primed me to do literally anything else.
I'm sure. Middle schoolers are scary. Those are the scariest years.
I have a lot of hot takes about eighth graders.
I'm sure we could do a whole nother one of these experiences in middle school. We will have to
you
save
know,
that for the next one.
just the long and short of it is that they're old enough to have a sense of the fact that they're growing, and they're like much larger than the sixth graders in the school, but there is no one larger than them to remind them that they are nothing. And so what you end up with is a bunch of little egomaniacs just
Yeah,
who
I
are
think
just starting to feel themselves.
yeah, that's it. That's how I explain it too, because middle school is like, you think you're grown because you're out of elementary school and you're
Mhm.
experimenting with all sorts of stuff. You're going through that weird puberty time, but yet you haven't gained the maturity yet to know what the heck to do with any of that. So it's a really weird stage.
Absolutely. But it definitely got me ready to deal with a lot of strong personalities in the law.
Sure.
So,
Yeah, yeah. And to be assertive, I'm sure.
oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So Roberto, now are you originally from kind of like the Miami area, or where are you from?
I am. I was born and raised in Miami. My parents are both Cuban refugees, and they came over here in the
Wow.
'60s. Like in the very first wave, like it was like Castro took over on like New Year's Eve, 1959. Like mid-January of 1960, my dad's family was on a plane to the United States. Uh,
Wow.
Literally clothes on their back, whatever they could carry in their arms. They chose to take, of all things, they chose, like, they got like a change of clothes and like family photos and whatever diplomas anybody had earned in the family. These are the things that were chosen to be preserved. On my mom's side, they got out in '62 through Guatemala. They had to sneak out because they were like kind of persona non grata. There had been some involvement with the prior regime, the Batista regime. So the the uh, the wedding ring that my wife currently wears is my grandmother's engagement and wedding ring, which had to be
Wow.
smuggled out in my mom's ponytail because they were literally taking everything off everybody of any value.
Wow.
Yeah, crazy,
That
right?
is insane. Yeah. That sounds like a book or a movie or something. That's what you should write about, is write about your family's history. That's
No one wants to hear about that.
Yeah, I do. I think that's really interesting, man. So you guys, I mean, you got a bunch of fighters in your family then, so it makes sense that you go into law.
And not just that, also, it's, you, I grew up with stories about basically people just showed up one day and kicked everybody out of the house and you can't take anything, pack a bag, we're gonna search you, no money, no valuables, no anything. And you can either get in line or get out. And if you were any kind of anyone in society, you're going to jail. And so, really fills you with a sense of how important it is to like have civil liberties and the um importance of maintaining like the rule of law, so to
Yeah.
speak. So that
Wow.
was it. That's not something that motivated me to go into law so much as it's something that like kept me in when things got rough. And I
Right.
understood that like this is probably like helping people redeem their rights and making sure everyone gets a fair shake and making sure no one gets bulldozed is kind of, it's not what got me into it, but it
Right.
is probably the most rewarding thing for me is when I can help the little guy, when I can leverage the rules to help someone in a relatively disadvantaged position, you know, vindicate their rights, whether it be against, in a criminal setting where maybe, they got pulled over and the cops didn't follow the rules, and then you have to make that argument and like help them out of whatever that situation is. Or if it's, a claimant, someone who got hit by a car and they're getting run ragged by the insurance company.
Yeah. Wow, I love that. How cool is it just to kind of see the backstory of some of this stuff? I just think that that's awesome. So much more to the story than people realize. So where did you go to school for law?
I went to Florida International University, which is a public law school in Miami.
Okay.
I think the only public law school in South Florida, I want to say, because the only
Okay.
ones there are there's two or three big private ones, and then FIU is relatively new. It was started in '03, I want to say.
Okay. And so what types of practices do you do?
So right now I do personal injury. I do personal injury, criminal defense.
Okay.
Those are basically the my everyday.
Okay. Okay. And obviously with you being from Miami and kind of right in the heart of all the Latin culture, you do speak Spanish, right?
I do.
Which I think that was one of my like missed goals in life. It's still a goal to be bilingual, but I think that that's awesome. So you're able to help folks that need someone to translate.
Correct. Correct. And I do. I like serving that community. I like serving
Yeah.
that community a lot for basically the exact same reasons. It really kind of goes back to all those stories of my family coming over here, and even though they were educated people in Cuba, they didn't speak the language. So it was, I know how frustrating and how dangerous it can be to have that language barrier between yourself and authority.
Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I never really thought about it like that. Interesting. Okay. So we kind of went through your life. Now, when did you graduate law school and when did you start practicing?
I got out in 2011, June 2011. I graduate from law school. I take the bar exam uh, end of July of 2011. I pass. I got admitted officially, sworn in January 30th of 2012. The Florida bar was quite stringent and thorough in their background investigation, and I had a lot of speeding tickets. A lot.
Um,
I went to Florida State, which is in Tallahassee, which is about 500-ish miles from Miami.
wow.
And let's just say that I just couldn't wait to get home sometimes. So, yeah, the Florida bar was very curious about my absolute, like, it was like a CVS receipts worth of of traffic offenses. So it took them a little while to clear me, but I finally made it through. I really sympathize with my traffic clients, I'll tell you that.
I'm sure. I'm sure. So you're a little bit of a speed demon. That's all right. I went through one of those time periods in life where I felt like I was getting a speeding ticket like every other week. It was really weird. But I've been doing good now. I haven't had one in years. So hopefully you haven't either.
Uh, I plead the fifth.
Okay, next subject. So moving on, how did you get to South Carolina?
My wife is a doctor, and she graduated from medical school in 2019, and she matched for a family medicine residency at Tidelands here in Murrells Inlet. So, we packed up the fam, and
Now
the
you're
rest is
here.
history.
Rest
Here
is
here I am.
history.
Mhm.
Well, that's awesome. Well, our game then, right? For her coming over here to work with Thailands. That's pretty cool. And so, before I let you go, Roberto, you got to tell me, what is kind of like, I mean, I know you touched on it a little bit, but just in case there's more, what is kind of your take on Myrtle Beach and kind of your favorite thing about being a lawyer?
My take on Myrtle Beach is that it's a much more diverse community than I would have thought. Before I moved here, I thought it was golf. I thought that was literally the word association would have been like dog, bone, cat, meow, Myrtle Beach, golf. And there's just a lot more to it. A lot more to
Yeah.
it. And a lot of great people here. And way more to do than just what's on the brochures and the advertising. And as far as what was the other question about what's my
About
favorite part about the law?
what's your favorite part about being a lawyer?
Um, I wish I could say it's the helping people part, which is very rewarding, but it is really the puzzle solving aspect of it.
Okay. Okay.
Having
Yeah.
I love, I like it used to give me a lot of panic when I was a younger lawyer. You'd get a problem in front of you that you had not seen before, and it was like every day. First couple of years of practice, you don't know what you're doing really. You see a new problem every day, and it was just uncomfortable. It's not comfortable to feel like you don't know what you're doing, and to feel like you're not working with a net, and if I do the wrong thing, what's going to happen, et cetera, et cetera. So while there's a lot of comfort at this point, after taking my lumps, now I sort of relish the moment when I see something that isn't the same thing as everything else, because now it gives me the opportunity to, like, okay, now I can do some research. Now I can, make some connections, and like maybe I can come up with a new novel way of doing whatever it happens to be. And that kind of a process of discovery is fun. The longer I do this, the less of it there is, because the
Sure.
more you do something in one area, the more of everything you see. But from time to time, somebody says, hey, what would you do in this situation and this situation? And the plaintiff did this and the defendant did that and they did this and da 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 da. And I sit there and I think, you know what? I have no idea. And then I go to my computer and I zone out and wake up 8 hours later, and I'm like, I still don't know exactly what the answer is, but I have like 7 theories.
No, I can understand that. I like that. I can understand the puzzle part of it, and to have that being something that kind of challenges you in a fun way. So I get that. I don't think it sounds bad at all. Well, thank you
Good.
so much for chatting, Roberto. I have learned so much more about you. So I appreciate you sharing all of that, especially with your family as well.
Oh, thank you, Rainey. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. All right, you guys, thanks for watching another Meet the Team. Of course, you can visit all of our other team members by watching other videos here on YouTube and Facebook and every other media outlet that you consume. Of course, you can visit justiceslovely.com. We have a Meet the Team section there as well. But thanks so much for watching today. We'll see you next time.